Okay, I'm back with a little bit more commentary on this phenomenon of Kundalini. But the first thing I want to say is by now, hopefully, you have discovered that Kundalini Shakti, this divine mother, divine energy of everything that ever existed, is really like the creator, master of this universe and all universes. And so I just want to say to all the men out there, it is true. If you haven't realized it yet, women should rule the world, that we are truly the masters. You can come up with all the ideas, but please let us implement and give birth to everything. So I just wanted to say that in case you haven't figured that out already. Okay, so going back, just being silly there. Um, Going back a little bit to the beginning, Kundalini Shakti, of course, we know, why do we have this? And it's, of course, this is to keep this never-ending evolutionary cycle of giving birth to something new, and this Shakti energy is what keeps the creation process going. Everything wants to expand, create, birth, die, born again, etc. And scientists or physicists call this force inflation, and the never-ending creative process. I guess the cat wants out, so I better put you on pause. Always happens. Okay, so where was I? So this and the never-ending creative process they call eternal inflation. And I love that word, eternal inflation. And the reason why I'm talking about this is, once again, to bring this whole system and thought about Kundalini Shakti and the process of Kundalini into a more practical perspective, that you can correlate it to science, physics, and maybe what I share in these videos is not accurate or true, but there's going to be some parallels. Anyway, I'm just trying to take the mystical out of this Kundalini Shakti experience and process. If there's real science behind it. And yeah, anyway, okay, so moving on. Let me see, where are my notes? So this eternal inflation, which I want to talk about, in order to inflate something, there's first inflate, there's an in, like a contraction, and then an exhale. And this contraction creates a force and a pressure, and then there's a force. This is all going to be relevant. I'm going to tie this all together. Let's see if I can do this. So then internal inflation, there must be a first inhale and then an exhale. And this is, of course, the never-ending creative process that is being delivered by Shiva and Shakti, these two forces, or the passive and active. Yeah. Okay. So I want to know what came prior to that inflationary force. And of course, what I got, and everybody has said this before, but it was the nothingness that came before Shiva and Shakti, the first two emanations from source. Nothingness becoming aware of itself for the first time. And this awareness of oneself created the Big Bang. But how did it create it? By first, there somehow it caused the own cosmic aha, like I see myself, but you see, there's an aha. And there, what I'm saying is there's an inhalation, there's a contraction, and an exhalation, which caused the Big Bang. So awareness was the original trigger for a creative and transformative process. Okay. And this continued creative process is the nothingness continually remembering its original aha through this contraction, release, expansion process. And this pressure creates heat and release. Okay, I am going somewhere with this. So you get it? So aha, awareness creates inhalation, pressure, and a release. Okay, this is all relevant to Kundalini releases and rising, because what Kundalini needs is pressure and heat to create the initial release and then a rising. Okay, what I'm telling you is also relevant to how the breath, I'm just trying to link some things. Why in Kundalini yoga or all these seminars where people, they're trying to get you to do breath of fire or Kundalini or yoga poses that create pressure, like laying on your stomach and pulling your arms and legs together. They're trying to create heat and pressure to manipulate the breath and creates and manipulate the pranic system in a particular way to release Kundalini. So I'm just sharing with you that they're trying to create a kind of thing in you. This is why we do the dog breath or the breath of fire. Okay, I know this is a rough video. Okay, and I will tell you about that pranic manipulation technique, what they're trying to accomplish within the pranic system, because the pranic system isn't just one whole system. There are 5 major sections that they're trying to manipulate. Okay, so this pressure and release and that like shock, and I love how we call Kundalini Shakti. This is why Kundalini, those coils, can be released by sudden shocks or shaktis and physical trauma. Because when we have that, we contract, create heat, and there's a release. So also explaining why Kundalini can be released by shocks and physical trauma, even, emotional shocks. We tend to hold our breath, create pressure, release. Okay, going back to this nothingness, becoming aware of itself, creating something new, causing a transformation. So I just want to tie this together. This becoming aware of itself is obviously the observer effect. And it also confirms how just having a simple awareness of something begets the transformation process. Because always when we suddenly become aware or see something for the first time within ourselves or in any way, doesn't matter how minute, there is always a little pressure and release. And it is in that moment that we have created the transformation process, because there's a force that goes out to whatever you're observing, whatever awareness is observing, and it begins the transformation process. Okay. And then the continual awareness of the particular object creates more heat, and the fire of transformations begin. Okay. I think this is why, when you could stare at somebody, anyway, that's probably not relevant. Okay. So this observer effect means, in scientific terms, that we live in a participatory universe. And this is why, obviously, I mean, this, I'm not saying anything new, but in terms of Kundalini, this is why it is so important for you to become aware and begin participating and interacting with with Kundalini Shakti. Your awareness and participation matters. And it is the purity of your participation that also matters. If you are participating with the motivation of getting power and manifestation, then that could equal, it affects the outcome of a particular, how Kundalini is released, and how successfully or how gently. Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to say your awareness matters. This is why I am doing all these videos, to give you little ahas, to hopefully make you an aware participant in your creative Kundalini Shakti process. Oh, this is a really rough video. I agree, but I'm not going to redo it. Okay, until next time.